Hey, Yoda. Go get it. Oh, caught it too quickly. Go! Good, Yoda.
Hi there, it's once again me, Theo, and welcome to part 3 of building the Lucky Bear Lodge. This episode we're focusing on the interior. However, if you watched our previous episode on the exterior, you'll see that the dates between both of these episodes actually overlap. For editing purposes, I decided to focus the previous episode on the exterior and this one on the interior, but know that some of these processes were going on at the same time. By around day 25, the outer shell of the house had been completed, and we started taking measurements on the larger aspects of the interior. How high the lofts would be, where they would go, how high the stairs would be to have to clear the fridge. And then we started placing the framing for the upstairs loft. We also did the framing for the other loft, as well as putting in the windows around the same time, around day 30. Once the basic floors for the lofts were laid down, then it was on to some of the pipe work. Hot and cold lines were put in. And then soon after, the lines running from the exterior to just above the doorway were put in for the heat pump. By around day 42, the stairs were being completed. Although I'm not so sure on the decision now, I designed the steps so that the first 3 steps were half triangular steps, so that the stairs could be compressed into a smaller space. It's a little awkward to get used to climbing up, but once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad, though I might still change this in the future. By around day 46, it was time for the foam, and this is where we had to exit because this was not our expertise. Plus there was foam everywhere, so not the best thing to be breathing in without a mask. So now the interior was green and good, with R30 foam for pretty good insulation. By day 51, we were traveling to a bunch of local mills to get our interior and exterior planking. One of the mills we went to specializes in reclaimed woods. There's a few advantages to this. One, it aesthetically looks really nice. But 2, since the wood has already been around for 60 plus years, there's little space for it to warp in hot and cold weather anymore, so it should stay relatively static. Now, I have nothing to confirm what I'm about to say, but this is what I was told by the mill. Some of the planks for the interior that you'll see used in the roof were part of an old Toys R Us shop, and apparently the side paneling used to be part of an old Coca-Cola factory. Not sure if that's true, but it's a nice thing to think about. Another nice thing about doing these documentary series is I can always come back to these videos and refer to them in case I need to see where my water lines are or where my electrical lines are in the walls. By day 75, we were laying down our flooring. If you've seen my interviews on other tiny house channels, you'll know that this flooring is hardwood from the Philippines. Fun story behind this, my grandfather used to manufacture these at a mill he ran in the Philippines, in Manila. He brought over a bunch of packages of this stuff for our family to use in their homes, businesses, whatever we might need it for. We still had a bunch of bundles left over, so of course I was going to use it in the tiny. That being said, that's a lot of hardwood in the floor, and that's a lot of sanding we had to do. And of course, sliding door for the bathroom. Next up, we cut and welded some copper pipes to make a shower curtain hanger. And I also took some time with some of the offcuts to build a little bench, one of the many pieces of furniture I would later put into this tiny home. By day 80, it was time to add the wood stove. It was weird after all that work putting a hole in the roof, but obviously it had to be done for the chimney. Besides, no cabin-style home is complete without a wood stove, now is it? It's mainly for aesthetics, but it comes in handy in case of emergencies or if you really need a boost of warmth. By around day 90, we started installing the major appliances, like the washing machine, water tank, testing the gray water lines out of the house, and then we started putting together the kitchen. We could have bought off-the-shelf counters and other, shelves from furniture stores, but one thing I learned is that everything, and I mean everything, is manufactured at a 2-foot depth these days. There's nothing wrong with that, but to add a greater sense of space to the tiny home, I went for shorter 22-inch countertops. It doesn't sound like much, but an extra 4 inches on either side really helps open the space up, and you can comfortably fit 2 or even 3 people working in this kitchen at the same time. A hole was cut in this beautiful butcher block for the sink and the stoves. The retro fridge was finally put into place. Sink and faucet were also added in. The microwave and fume hood. And of course, once all the big appliances were in, time to clear coat the wood floor. Again, lots of coating. bathroom sink was added. As well as the bathtub. I wasn't going to build a home without a tub. These leftover white acrylic panels were used for the bathroom walls. They were actually left over from Ethical Tiny Homes' previous build, so I figured why not reuse the materials since it's pretty nice. This piece of driftwood I scavenged from an old industrial area still had some iron fittings on it, so it made for a great loft bench/table. And of course, some last few detailing touches were put in. And at long last, this really did start to feel like a home. Now that was the majority of the interior, but a few last pieces of furniture and the actual moving of the house is coming up next. We'll save that for the next episode. Join us next time when we finalize the home and my 2+ years of living in the tiny home. And as always, thanks for watching.